You know, we all think of our home as our one safe place, right? The place you can lock the door and just shut out the rest of the world. Well, in this explainer, we're going to look at 3 true stories from people who found out the hard way that sometimes the real danger isn't trying to get in because it's already there.
I mean, it's a really terrifying thought, isn't it? The one place where you feel the most secure, where you're supposed to be protected, could actually be the place you need to escape from. So let's dive into how that can happen. And that's the thing, every single one of these stories, they start just like this. You know, with that feeling of hope, a new beginning, finally getting that dream home. Life was good. And that line, it just perfectly captures that moment of calm right before the storm, before everything goes completely wrong. So yeah, this is where all 3 of our stories kick off, with that simple, universal dream of having a safe home. And look, these aren't ghost stories. We're talking about totally normal people in totally normal houses. And honestly, that's what makes them so much more terrifying.
I mean, look at these settings. They're so relatable, right? A couple buying their first place and the neighbors seem great. A family moving into a nice suburban house. Another family scoring a great deal on a bigger home for the kids. There's not a single red flag here. It all just seems, well, normal.
See, the thing about real horror is it almost never just shows up and announces itself. It starts small, like a whisper. It's that sound you can't quite identify, or something weird you see that you can just explain away. This is that moment, that slow burn, that creeping doubt, before the real terror shows its face. And this, right here, this is a perfect look at how our own minds try to protect us from being afraid. One person hears noises in the wall and thinks, oh, it's just the pipes. Another hears shuffling outside her window and figures it must be coming from the YouTube video she's watching. The neighbor gives a weird excuse for wrecking his car and they just want to believe him. And it's right there, in that little gap between what we tell ourselves is happening and what's really happening, that's where the horror really starts to grow. Wow. And this just shows you how long this kind of dread can go on. This wasn't just a quick scare. For the young woman in Montreal, we're talking about a nightmare that lasted for years. I mean, can you imagine? For years, you're hearing things, you're seeing reflections, and you're probably starting to think you're going crazy. The sheer persistence is what's so chilling. Now, in our first story, the signs were a little less subtle, but still pretty easy to brush off. You hear some banging, some loud music late at night. You just think, okay, my new neighbors are a little weird, right? You definitely don't jump to the conclusion that you're living next door to some kind of violent, terrifying secret. But then comes that moment. The moment you just can't lie to yourself anymore. The excuse doesn't work, the sound is crystal clear. The threat isn't just a possibility anymore, it's real. And that's the point of no return.
2 o'clock in the morning. You know that time of night when everything is supposed to be dead silent? Any little sound feels 10 times louder and the dark just feels different? And that is exactly when the girl in the basement in Alberta heard it. It wasn't the pipes, it wasn't the house settling, it was clear, human laughter, coming from inside a solid wall right next to her bed. I mean, there's just no way to explain that away. That feeling of violation, it's instant, it's absolute. So get this, in that same house, just a few years later, things get even worse. The narrator's home alone, she's watching her baby sister, and she hears it coming from the baby monitor. Heavy footsteps in her sister's room, and then a quiet shh sound, as if someone is trying to quiet the crying baby. Someone is in the room with the baby. The pure panic of that moment, I can't even imagine it. Okay, so back to our first couple, that weird tension next door, it suddenly explodes into just absolute chaos. We're way past loud music now. It's their neighbor's car literally tearing through their garden and smashing into his own front door. Then these guys are running out, loading up electronics. The secret life of the people next door just blew up all over their lawn. And all of this leads to maybe the most terrifying discovery of all. So after that baby monitor incident, the police show up. But it's the dad who has this gut feeling. He points them to a bookshelf. And sure enough, they push it open. And behind it is a secret room. They find food wrappers, a cup that had gone missing from their kitchen, a switchblade, and then the most sickening detail of all. They find a tiny peephole drilled through the wall, aimed directly at the teenage daughter's bed.
So you might think, okay, the intruder's caught, the neighbors are gone, story's over, right? But it's not. Not even close. The immediate danger might be gone, but that feeling of being violated in your own home, that never really leaves you. And it leads to a very real psychological condition called hypervigilance. It's basically what happens to your brain after a trauma like this. Your brain gets rewired. Every little creak in the house, every shadow you see out of the corner of your eye, it's not innocent anymore. You're constantly on high alert because you know, for a fact, that the threat is real. And this is what that actually looks like for these people. For the woman in Montreal, she has to switch bedrooms. She can't even stand to look out the window into her own backyard anymore. The family with the violent neighbors is so freaked out, they drop the injured guy at the hospital and then lie about where they're staying because they're too scared to go home. And for the girl from Alberta, she has to live with the knowledge that someone was watching her for years in her most private moments. Their fundamental sense of safety is just gone. And this quote, wow, it just hits you with the raw, brutal reality of what these people accidentally became a part of. This isn't some monster from a movie. This was their neighbor. A real person showing up on their doorstep, just completely destroyed. It's just a terrifying look into a world of violence they never ever wanted to see. You know, maybe the most haunting part of all of these stories isn't even what we know happened, it's what we don't know. It's those loose ends, those unanswered questions. That's the stuff that really sticks with you. I mean, think about this. In that second story, when the dad confronts the stalker in the yard, he goes to warn the next door neighbor. And what's her reaction? She threatens to call the cops. On him? Like, why would you do that? Was she in on it? Was she protecting him? Or was she just scared of him? We'll just never know. And then there's this question, and this is the one that really gets under your skin. The guy in the walls, the stalker outside the window. Was he only there to watch? Was that the end game? Or was that just step one? And the fact that the guy in the walls had a switchblade with him, that makes you think he was prepared for something much, much worse. And for that first couple with the chaotic neighbors, they're just left guessing forever. The husband's story was that he cheated and his wife sent people after him. Is that what really happened? Or was it about drugs, debt? Who knows? The crazy thing is, they were living feet away from this intense life or death drama, and they never even knew what the story was. Which brings us to this final quote, and honestly, it might be the most powerful takeaway from all of this. After seeing everything she saw, the narrator just came to a realization. Some questions are better left unanswered. Because sometimes what you don't know, well, it's a whole lot less scary than finding out the truth.